Well, flip it. Flip it now. If you're doing that to your child and telling him he needs help and you're going to be patient, but he's straight, or you're going to take him to therapy to get... It's just as bad. Child services, I know they can't. But yes, in the perfect world, child services would step in and go, no, you can't tell your child that he's not gay any more than you could tell a straight kid that he's gay. It is horrible either way. It's just horrible either way. I don't imagine someone listening go, no, it's not either way. If you're telling, I like this guy, but he's not going to make any points with me if he just makes horrible... If you tell a straight kid that he's gay and try to get him to be gay, that's evil. But it's not evil the other way. Yeah, well, it is. Yeah. So, listen, this is where we're going to... I say they might listen to the whole show, but you know what I mean. I'm going to... I'm going to probably relax a little more now that we're moving on to other things. Some of it will be, in this category. I love this quote. It's never too late. By the way, now we're sort of moving on to other topics and everything. Some of it will still be this issue that we're talking about right now. It's never too late to give up when you're prejudiced. Henry David Thoreau. What's his last name? Thoreau. Sent in by who? Real loud, if you don't mind, Chris.
J. Mark Boissonneau.
Oh, thank you. Paul. Okay. Martin Luther King.
Chris, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just it's so funny.
Would you have pronounced that French name as well as I did?
I'm sure I was wrong.
Martin Luther King.
I really sold
it. What did he say? What Martin Luther King? Oh, marched there. Oh, yes. This is what I want to know. If you showed someone a picture of in the marches, if you look closely, someone pointed this out to me. If you look closely, there's people that in the midst of all the marches that are predominantly not white people, predominantly black people. Yes. You see some white people. And I always thought it would be good to have a billboard that said, that circled them and said, would have that been you? Now, you might go, I'll never
Looks like
know.
a carrot.
I'll never know. Yeah.
That's the best answer.
Well,
I took the little carrots, and I turned them into a big carrot.
Who wouldn't want to say yes? Let me just get this out real quick. I think most people want to go, I think the most open-minded you would get from the average person. Not everybody. There'd be people that obviously would go, no, that wouldn't be me because I'm not a fool, But there'd be a lot of people that go, I would hope.
Yes.
You don't have to guess.
Yeah.
Look at what's on the table today that mirrors that, and where are you on that? Because that's where you would have been back then, whether you'd like to believe it or not. So,
I think I don't know if we talked about this here, but I went to there was a rally downtown. It was a march for women's rights because there was a lot of stuff happening in the news about reproductive rights, and it was getting really bad. And so this rally happened downtown that was organized by the it was not organized by the ECB, but they organized a group of people. Like, they spread the word, we're going to have this, there's going to be this rally downtown, let's all go and represent. And I went with my wife and some friends, and I was very self-conscious about it. I felt very strongly about doing it, but I was very self-conscious about it, and I almost didn't go. Why? Just because. Why did I feel self-conscious about it? Because I would be a dude at this women's rights rally, and I just, and that kind of, I've never been that involved in demonstrative political stuff like that, where you actually go and you show yourself. And that was really what it was I was outside my comfort zone there. But I got to a point where I realized I think it's time to start going outside of that zone of comfort where these things are concerned. If it's something that I care about, I think I have to do it. I think no matter how uncomfortable it is, I think I have to start working towards these things in any way that I can. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point of just caring about it and not doing anything?
Paul, we're going to talk about that a little when I ask people that are already open-minded to start being more vocal, including me. And let's get to that when we get to it. But
and I'm telling you, Todd, that idea that you've talked about here so much was a big part of my thinking in that. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm happy about that.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
I'm very happy about that. And let me just. By the way, I'm aware of my interview styles right now. They're a little bit rattled. You know, you said something that I'm like, okay, let me get over here. But at least I pointed it out, so somebody goes, oh, at least he's aware. I just want to. I know what happens when I get through certain things, and then I get to a point where then I'm in a conversation with you that's back and forth, and then I get some things out of the way, and that's sort of where I'm at right now. This is much lighter, but you know, what's his name up there? This Martin. What is it, Chris? Say it loud. Okay, it says, if I were...
one more time, he'll appear.
if I were gay, I would introduce... Because it's hard to know, like, I don't like any of the terms. Like, that's, you know, whether it's significant other or whatever, it's like, no, they're all... Someone goes, what about husband? I go, I'd rather not be gay if I have to introduce someone as my husband. I know that's horrible for someone else. By the way, this is me. For someone else that introduces your boyfriend as your husband or whatever you introduce, you're the strong one. You're the right one. I'm being honest about some of my problems, and this is what happens when when I grew up like this. You know, it's all normal. I want to get out of it, though. But I think this is funny. He goes, and he's not gay, but he goes, if I was gay, I'd introduce my boyfriend as my partner in crime. What is our crime? Disobeying the Lord. I just love that. It's my partner in crime. Yeah, we disobey the Lord. That's our thing.
Classic Urbano.
Here we go. Here's something else. Say it again. Classic what?
Classic Urbano.
Classic. Everyone knows. Yeah. Here's another thing in my head. I think about it. You know, I think of people hearing this and wanting to just say that. You know, because if they say what I'm about to say, if they went, oh, you're right, well, then that'd be too easy. So they try to, you know, where can we find that he's wrong? And it says, I can read this one. I thought when you prejudge someone, or you're not 100%, you're spitting in the name of a lot of people. And I'm going to give a few examples. One, the people that like to wave the American flag, and you are, you know, or the troops, the God bless the troops, God bless the troops, God bless the troops. Maybe even a cousin or a son or a daughter has lost their life in the military. Whether you agree with this or not, and I would imagine you wouldn't, unless you're not, you're an accepting person. If you are hateful towards a group, whether it's, you know, whatever group it is, you're spitting. You have one thing to do. You have the power to make their life or their death not for nothing. That's an amazing power. You can live on and make their life mean something. And you're indirectly spitting on their grave. To go, you know, everything you fought for, because let's make no mistakes about it, all those wars are because of not being accepting and understanding and loving. And they died for that. Now, you might go, no, they died for that right. You don't get handpicked. They died for everyone to be treated right and equal and just right. That's all I got to say. And you have the power. That's crazy power. To live your life as an accepting person. And where you're having trouble, like I said, you go get help. You go, I don't want to be this person. I have a child that died in the war. I want to live in his honor or her honor. You know, the same thing. If you're gay and you're prejudiced, and obviously, you know, if you're gay and you're prejudiced or you're sexist or you can talk about Matthew Shepard all you want. You have one thing to do to make his life not worthwhile. To make his life worthwhile. One thing. Again, extreme amount of power. And then you go on and you want to talk Matthew Shepard. It's sad. So, I could give other examples. Obviously, Rosa Parks. You know, if you're black and you're sexist or you're homophobic, same thing. Don't do that.
The thing is,
does that make sense? What I'm saying?
It does, but it comes down to no matter who you are, you have to cultivate empathy. You know, you really have to cultivate some sense of we're all human beings, and
what's
we all
that say right there?
It says empathy and
where was it?
Cycle.
Next on the list.
It was next on the list.
God, I love Paul F. Tompkins so much. I remembered to put the F in. But I'm sorry.
But it really is like I find that it should be the older you get and the more you experience of the world and the more you experience of other people, your mind should expand. And you should understand, we're kind of all pretty much the same. We all have the same the same feelings. We all have the same hopes, desires, dreams, whatever. We're really not that different. And a gay relationship is not that much different than my heterosexual relationship. It's the same stuff. It's the same. You have the same highs and lows that everybody has. Like, that's the way it's supposed to work. Is that you're not supposed to just get smaller and smaller and smaller unless you are afraid. And so much of all of this stuff is fear. It's about fear. But I don't understand how. What you're talking about with loving the troops and praising the troops, and the troops they're there to protect our freedom. Well, what do you think that means? The whole idea of America was founded on the idea that America was founded on was you could be who you wanted to be, and nobody was going to tell you can't be that thing, or you're going to be put in jail,
especially
or you're
when
going to be put to death.
Especially when I think the main thing is, and again, sensible people know this, but I don't take for granted if there's 3 people listening that are going, well, what about murderers? Come on now. If and you might think, Todd, you're going to address that? Nah, it's my neuroses.
Yeah.
To go 2 people that aren't hurting anybody.
Yeah.
2 people that aren't hurting anybody.
Exactly. We were, the Puritans came over here in the 1600s, and they weren't the nicest people in the world. They were fleeing England because they could not practice the very puritanical religion that they wanted to practice, so they came here. They probably did more harm to people as a small group coming to America than any gay person has ever done just by being gay.
That's why when I say I ask for consistency, look, we're both as we're talking about everything, I always think, okay, what are we saying that's helping change somebody? It's supposed to just me spewing out something there, somebody's listening, blah 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 blah. Sometimes you feel like you're hitting something from an angle that could make someone that's having trouble with their kid but still a rational, decent human being. So I always love when people say, it ruins the sanctity of marriage to allow it. Well, I think straight people have done enough to ruin the sanctity of marriage by the divorce rate being 50%.
Yeah.
So stop it.
Yeah.
You don't care about the sanctity of marriage. Cut it out.
Yeah.
Stop it. Be consistent.
Yes.
Be consistent.
Let's not pretend.
Let's not. Yeah. Right. Like if you can only agree to disagree when the other person's having valid points. That's why that term exists. Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
It doesn't come over 4 plus 4 is 7.
Right.
That's not when you agree to disagree. That somebody's wrong.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm going to repeat it one more time. If you go to a reliable psychologist, a children's psychologist, overwhelming, they're going to tell you, yeah, this is, and when you reap the benefits, again, of all you go to a mechanic. Oh, I'm going to use the same thing because I think sometimes when you say therapist, people go, oh, every therapy. It's not hocus pocus. When your mechanic tells you something, oh, well, excuse me, my mechanic thinks he went to school and studied cars. No, he knows what he's fucking talking about. And that's why you listen to a mechanic. Hey, you're taking a road trip? You might want to check this, that, and that. Not because he's God, because he studied that.
Yeah.
And that information is up for your having.
You should put chains on
your child.
Yeah, you should put chains on your tires because of the snow. No.
Yeah, what do they know?
That's not true.
So that information is out there for you the same way you would go to a mechanic to ask a question about your car or call a professional plumber in. You owe it to your child to call in a professional. And if you don't, that's sad.
How about this, too? You can also, following that same analogy, you can also listen to your child, who's the expert on being gay, where you are not. So, if you want to know what... You know what I mean?
Well, here's the problem with that. The parent listening goes, my child doesn't... We're trying to make a parent realize that we're not... What I'm saying is, don't trust me that your child's okay.
Right.
I'm saying, don't trust me your Volvo's okay. Don't trust me that your sink doesn't need to be fixed.
But you can trust your child that your child's okay.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, I'm saying if you don't, at least go to an expert in that area.
I understand, Todd. I understand what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, sure you do.
But I'm
granted, we got into a fight right now.
I'm saying it might even be simpler than that,
Think about it for the parent right now listening that doesn't want to trust their child. They think their child, well, no, of course he thinks he's okay. He needs help. Well, believe me, you're right. Trust your child.
Oh, for the parent who's listening, let me say this. Gay people, They just want to be gay with other gay people. They're not
Well-
interested in. They're not interested in converting the world. If that's a thing you're worried about.
It's the empathy. Let's do this. Let's take. That was what are we at now?
We're at about an hour 5.
You know what? That's a good place to be. So we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back, read some emails, and that first sort of segment went on. We said we were gonna say goodbye to some of those parents that were listening, but obviously you're welcome to stick around. But we're done. Now we're just gonna talk, not try to rattle anybody out of belief. Now we're just gonna have a conversation, which will be a little more relaxing. But I hope that we did something, and I hope there we go.
You never know.
You never know. It's a good way to wrap it up. Okay, we'll be right back. Maybe you'll hear a little music, and then we'll come right back. Alrighty, did you like that little piece of music? So I'm gonna rip.
I did.
What did I play? You'll know what I played.
It was ethereal.
Whatever you say, there it is. The magic of.
It was Orinoco Flow by Enya.
Okay. You like it, everybody?
Everyone loves it.
I want to thank a few people that have sent me emails. It better be good. It's only going to be like 10 seconds. I want to thank a few people. Anybody that sent me a letter about most of the letters, I used to say if you're 90% get to 100%. If you're 100% be more vocal. Those letters resonate with me. They mean a lot to me. When someone says, I think I let you down, it's like, oh my God, you didn't let me down. The fact that you even think that you let me down lifted me up and made my whole day. And I get how hard it is. I've still been in situations where you speak up. And I think when I tell people I get how hard it is, they'll go, okay, he knows, yes, but I'm doing it myself. Somebody says something, again, the thing that I find it cathartic to say is you don't have to go, whoa, 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 in this house we won't be. You can figure out a way to do it very subtly. You can go, hey, no big deal, and I don't want to. But remember that those people never care about making anybody uncomfortable. They don't ever think, right, hey, before I let out a horribly sexist or homophobic or racist joke, because I said there's two levels of people that are hateful. There's people that are hateful but smart enough to know that not everybody else is hateful. So they're secretive with their hate until they get around their closest of close friends to spew out their hate. And then there's another level of hateful people that don't think, yeah, you think everybody else at the Thanksgiving dinner doesn't believe in gay marriage? No, they all must think what I think. So I'll just say it. Forgetting a term I use a lot, crushing an adult, but especially a child. They never think about that. They never get home in their car and go, geez, I made that horrible joke, or I made my opinion that might have made up. So don't you be so afraid to stick up for the other people. Don't think of ruining the night, because you don't have to. Think about that you will make someone's night.
Yeah.
I happened to me when I was a child, and somebody said something, just a little bit offensive, and then someone corrected them, and I felt great, So, but the people that were saying I have to be more vocal. I get it. You think, oh, is this the time? Maybe it's not the time. And sometimes you might go, it's not. Sometimes you might, but I don't think you ever can. To be honest with you, even though I empathize when you decide it's not the time, I will tell you this: it's never not the time.
Yeah.
It's just do I understand that sometimes it was the time, but you just didn't have it in you. But the question is, could you ever make a mistake, like defend somebody? Now, you might yell and scream. I don't want someone listening there turning to their wife because they handled it in a horrible way and go, see, Todd says always speak up. There is a decorum that you have, is that the word?
Yeah.
That you have to do this. But, it's hard for me to be too hard on anybody that ever defends a group, even if maybe they were a little over the top. Your heart's in the right place. Yeah. Even, so anybody that sent me a letter that said, that they're trying to do that, it means a lot to me. Lucas Holmes, you sent me a letter about empathy, which was magnificent, and we're going to put it on the Facebook page. And so there's that. somebody said this, and I'm sure you'll have a quick answer to this, Paul. Let me see if I can find it. You know what? I feel so bad. The person that sent this in, I don't have their name in front of me, but you'll know it's you because only one person asked this. Should gay people not get married? Because there's people that are straight that aren't getting married till all gay people can get married. I figured that was the answer, but explain why to some very nice. It was a younger person that asked, and they asked in a very nice way. Like it was not like they're not trying to be argumentative. It's almost like they wanted ammunition the next time they heard someone say that to be able to go, here's the difference.
It is perhaps the least effective tactic that I've ever heard of in trying to get something done. Because not only does it not hurt anybody but the people that aren't getting married in the first place. Like there's nobody who's saying, "Oh, I wish those two would get married," but they won't until gay marriage is recognized legally throughout the land. So I don't. What do we do here? Like it sounds pretentious, and what it does is you're bolstering the case of people who say if homosexuals get their way, they're going to destroy heterosexual marriage. You are making their point for them because you're saying we're heterosexuals and we're not getting married until gay people can get married. So that's in a weird way. These other people, these bigots, can feel justified. Like, see what happens now. Gay people, they're tearing down traditional marriage in this way.
You're misunderstanding, I think, the question just a little bit. He's saying, but by the way, glad you did, because you made another point that I think is very valid. You're saying that straight people should still get married.
Yes.
Right. And also, my friend has that problem. He said, he has a cop and he gets great benefits, and he really does want to, not get married, but it's he doesn't know what to do. But the question was for people that, let's say, they do admire that. Oh, you're gonna think this question isn't even. Well, I don't want to say it from a very kind email. I don't want to throw him under the bus because every question, especially when it's about trying to be more open-minded, is a great question.
Yeah.
He said, if some people think, well, straight people shouldn't get married, what about gay people? Because if you're gay and you can get married in Florida, let's say, well, there's still people in Cleveland that can't, wherever they can't get married.
Oh, come on.
That's ridiculous, right?
But people travel to the states where it's legal and they do it there.
And we're fighting for gay people to get married, so that if they're doing it state by state, that's the object is where it's legal to start doing it.
Now I see why I didn't understand that, because it doesn't make sense.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry to who wrote it, but I think you're probably, if you're an intelligent person, and I'm saying you are, maybe even hearing it. Yeah, because here's what's going on. For people that are saying we're fighting for gay people to get married, so. I more understand if there's a straight person. I get that. If they go, I'm not doing it till everybody can do it, I get that.
Yeah.
But the reason is you don't throw gay people into that is because we're fighting for them to get married. So where they can get married, that's the goal. Start getting married.
Is the idea of out of solidarity that if you're a gay person who lives in Florida, and is it legal in Florida?
I'm making up states. I don't know.
If you're in Massachusetts and you get married, then because it's not legal in Pennsylvania, should you feel like, well, we shouldn't do it? Yeah, that's not the way. No. If you're in Pennsylvania, go to Massachusetts and get married.
Right. And then this is Ben Black said this in a long time ago, and I really sometimes on the show I have obviously I talk for a living, but I get tongue tied, and he sent something in that I thought it really made me feel good about what he said. It just guess what I just realized? I have no headsets on. Anyway, not that was important to bring up.
I thought it was going to lead to something else.
No.
So I could do this.
Just the highlighted part?
Yeah, just the highlighted part.
Ben Black said, sometimes you put into words things I couldn't quite articulate on my own, and other times, when you're struggling to get at what you mean, it forces me to articulate my feelings to meet you halfway. Either way, you're helping people turn vague notions into solid mindsets, clear ways of thinking that help keep the poison out. Good on you.
Well, let me tell you something, Ben Black. I really appreciate getting that, and you said it more articulately than I could have ever said it. Martin Luther King here. It said, it's a quote from Martin Luther King. Read his name and then the yellow parts.
From Tyson Mott. He said...
Oh, because I always say that Well, good. Read what he's. Oh, I'm always saying if you're a 90%er, why do I have so much frustration? 90%ers, you're pretty open-minded, but you're still going, no, but why do they want this, or why do they? My son is gay, and a matter of fact, or my daughter's gay, and her girlfriend went on a trip with us last year, and we had a great time, and we loved her. But with the marriage, what's wrong with the civil union? To me, that's one area of a 90%er. So he put in. Martin Luther King sort of echoed those words. It makes me feel like I'm on the right track to why that is sometimes even worse for me. So,
Right. He said, I thought of this while listening to your last serious podcast.